My specific focus with this video today is to help you find GoPro accessories that will be the most beneficial and useful to you. I've owned every GoPro action camera that has been released during the last 11 years, and I've spent thousands of hours with those GoPro cameras on hikes, trips, and other various adventures. There are lots of different accessories out there for GoPro cameras, and I've owned and tried a ton of them. Unfortunately, many were a waste of money due to how easily they broke, or simply because I just did not use them a lot. But there are 10 accessories that I find myself using over and over again, and these are the accessories I bring along pretty much anytime I leave the house with my GoPro. These accessories have stood the test of time with their build quality and their usefulness. And I've linked to all of these accessories in the description below so that you can check out any that you're interested in. Let's get into it. So accessory number 1 is this metal mount right here from Accessory. And what I love about this mount is, first of all, it is made of metal. You'll find a lot of action camera mounts out there that are made of plastic, and if you've used those plastic ones several times, you find that they break really easily. Mine typically end up getting a big crack down them, and then they detach from the tripod that I'm trying to mount it to. And the best part about these metal mounts is they're less than $10 each, so I own a bunch of these, and I have them attached to anything that has a mounting plate that I use my GoPro with. So any type of tripod that has the 1/4" 20 mounting screw on it, I have several attached to those. My selfie stick that I use, which I'll talk about in a moment. These are just really useful, and they're really rugged. Accessory number 2 is a USB pass-through door for the GoPro. Now, GoPro does have their own version of the pass-through door. I've currently got it on the Hero 13 Black, but there are other companies that sell the pass-through doors as well. Of those third-party companies that make them, the one that I have found is best is the one made by Telesin. The Telesin pass-through door costs a little bit less than the GoPro door, and it's very rugged and does a good job, and it's very good build quality. You may be wondering, why is a USB pass-through door useful? The main reason is having this pass-through door on here allows you to connect a USB-C cable to the GoPro without needing to have the door propped open like this. When the door's propped open, it exposes the battery could drop out, and the internals are exposed. So if it's raining or snowing, anything like that, or you're around water, it could easily get wet inside here. Now, it's important to note that the GoPro is not waterproof with the USB pass-through door on. Water could, of course, still get into here. But I have found when I've done time lapses outside and it's snowed or rained, as long as I have the USB-C cable plugged into here, I've not ever had any moisture get inside there. But again, it's not officially waterproof, so do keep that in mind if you use this with a USB-C cable. And as far as the use cases for this, I use this USB pass-through door pretty much all the time, unless I'm going to have my GoPro underwater. Otherwise, I keep it on there because I do a lot of time lapses with my GoPro, and for time lapses, you'll need them plugged in, unless you're doing a short time lapse. And it's also useful for charging the GoPro battery on the go, and it's also good for any of those use cases where you want to have the battery out of the GoPro and have it just powered with a USB-C cable. This can be especially useful if you're doing this in really hot weather and you're going to do a long extended clip. That's when the risk of your GoPro overheating could be higher, and it can be beneficial to have the battery out of it to give better ventilation. And speaking of powering the GoPro, the next accessory that I recommend having and that I use all the time is this power bank right here from Anker. And in fact, I own several of these because they are such a good bang for buck. And of course, I own several GoPros, and sometimes when I like to do comparisons with things like time lapses, or if I need both of them plugged in at the same time, it's super useful to have more than one power bank. These power banks from Anker have 20,000 milliamp hours of capacity, which is a ton of power. That's equivalent to many GoPro batteries. And I found these Anker power banks to be reliable. They're consistent, they hold plenty of charge, and I can use them to charge other devices on the go, such as my smartphone, my iPad, or pretty much anything else that can be charged with a USB power bank. But if you don't feel like you need the 20,000 milliamp hours and you want something a little bit smaller, this power bank right here from CookTech, I also own this. This one holds about 10,000 milliamp hours of charge, so about half of the capacity of the Anker, but it is a little bit smaller. It's more of that candy bar size. So it can be a little bit more portable if you're looking for something a little bit smaller. I do recommend this one as well. I've used it a lot, and it's also been consistent and reliable. Now, before we get away from the topic of power, I do also recommend having at least a couple extra batteries for your GoPro. And whether you buy those batteries from GoPro or whether you get third-party batteries, I do caution you, if you get third-party batteries, be very careful. There's a lot of third-party batteries that I've tried that are a waste of money. They either don't work, or they don't hold a lot of charge, or they get really hot in your GoPro. If you are open to third-party batteries, these ones from Llano right here that come with a charging case, there's 2 of them in there. These batteries work with the Hero 9 all the way up to the Hero 12. And I really like these batteries because they have about the equivalent capacity of the GoPro battery, but they also are very reliable. They haven't given me any problems. I currently use them in my Hero 11, and I'll show you really quick. Pop one in and power it on. And as you can see, 100% charge right there. No error messages. It just works. And these batteries and charging case, they are a great value. Basically, the 2 batteries and the case cost the same as buying just 2 batteries from GoPro. So that is the value. Basically, you're getting the free charging case, and this charging case, it can be connected to your power bank so you can charge these on the go. And this has a nice little status. So right now the battery in there has 100% charge. You just push the button and it'll tell you what they're at. And that's a big reason I like this Llano charging case better than the dual battery charger from GoPro. Because the dual battery charger from GoPro, all you get is a status light. You have no idea if your battery's at 1%, at 90%. You don't know. But with this, you push the button and you can easily see the percentage status for the charge right there. Even with the USB-C pass-through door and the power bank, having extra batteries is really important because there's going to be a lot of use cases where you need to use your GoPro like this and you're not going to have something connected to it because it's either not practical or you might be underwater. There could be a host of reasons, but a power bank is not a replacement for batteries. I recommend having both for that reason. All right, and one more accessory that kind of relates to power, and that is a charging handle. So these charging handles I'm going to talk about, these will work with the Hero 9 all the way up to the Hero 13. Of course, the first one that you've probably heard of before is the GoPro Volta. And the Volta is great. I have no complaints about it. It holds the capacity of about 3 to 4 GoPro batteries. You mount the GoPro on here and you've got your basic record button. You can toggle modes, that type of thing right here. So the nice thing about the charging handle is you can control the GoPro via the handle and you don't have to push the button on the GoPro to start record. You could use the handle, which is a lot more useful if you're vlogging with it and you're holding it up to talk to it, that type of thing. And of course, this also keeps your GoPro charged while you're using it, so you don't have to have it connected to a power bank. You just plug in the USB-C cable right here into the side of your GoPro. And it is worth noting, if you buy the Volta does come with the USB pass-through door included. So if you're considering buying the Volta, don't go out and buy the pass-through door, just buy the Volta, and you'll get the pass-through door with it. One of the negatives about the Volta, though, is the cost. It is a pretty pricey accessory. It's about $130. So there is an alternative to the Volta that I've also used a lot, and it is this charging handle from PGY Tech right here. And this is called the Caplock Mantis Pod Power. And what this is here is it's very similar to Volta. You mount your camera on here at the top and you plug it in with the USB-C cable. And of course you can control the record and the modes from the button here. But one of the nice things is this is removable. So what you have is you have a remote here. So you can probably already think of the use cases for that, but when you have this remote, you can start and stop your GoPro recording and you don't have to have it in your hand. You can have it up to about 20 or so feet away. And this remote is going to allow you to switch modes and start and stop record. And this accessory right here only costs about $70. So this is about half the price of the Volta. And this of course does have the legs that fold out as well. So just like with the Volta, you can use this as a short tripod. All right, shifting gears away from power now, let's talk about storage. So obviously, if you're recording footage on your GoPro, you need to have a micro SD card, but choosing the right micro SD card is really important. Now, for many years now, I've used the SanDisk Extreme and SanDisk Extreme Pro cards, and they have never let me down. And the particular card I'm using right now, I'm going to pull it out of here. In my Hero 11, I'm using the SanDisk Extreme. This is a 512 gigabyte storage card, and I like that 512 gigabytes. It's tons of storage. and I haven't found myself needing to switch micro SD cards, even on a long adventure over several days where I've recorded a lot of footage. What I do at the end of each day, though, is I do copy my footage off in case I was to lose my GoPro or smash it or somehow damage it where the card got damaged. But I like to also keep the footage on this card when I'm on a trip or an adventure. That way I have it in 2 places, and it basically serves as a backup. In my Hero 13, I do use the SanDisk Extreme Pro, but I use this card on here because I like to use the QR code where I adjust the bitrate to 200 megabits per second when recording on the Hero 13. This one is 256 gigabytes in storage, and that's been plenty of storage on my Hero 13 as well. The SanDisk Extreme Pro does cost a little bit more because it is a faster read and write speed card, and this card is easily able to keep up. So when filming with a GoPro, I recommend having a tripod and selfie stick, and my favorite one is this one right here from Ulanzi. First of all, this extends to about 57 inches. So if you need to extend your GoPro and hold it way back for talking to it, you can do that. And it's very compact. It folds back in. It also can serve as a tripod. This is basically my go-to tripod when I'm doing time lapses with my GoPro. I love this one. It's about a foot off the ground, but that helps keep good stability, especially if it's windy. This isn't going to blow away and tip over. Has very wide legs here, which is very nice. And up here, you of course can put the metal mount right on top here that I talked about earlier. And then you also can adjust the angle of this, so you can have this any which way you want it, which is good when talking to it. And then down here, you can loosen and tighten this so that it's not going to open or close when you don't want it to. And the value the selfie stick provides is phenomenal. I believe last time I checked, it was like $20 to $25. And I think it speaks for itself, but there's a lot of value there, and I highly recommend getting one of these right here. The GoPro equivalent, such as El Grande, it is a much higher cost, and you can't really use El Grande as a tripod. It doesn't have the fold-out legs. It's simply a selfie stick, so this is really a phenomenal value. Now, if you're looking to do filming with your GoPro to get that more cinematic look to it, or if you really want that really nice motion blur in your footage, any type of intense action, then I highly recommend picking up a set of ND filters. I've got a couple different sets here from Freewell. The first ones I have are the standard ones. These don't have a polarizer on them, but then I also have the pack from Freewell that has the polarizer. And in case you don't know what the polarizer is, basically the polarizer helps reduce glare if you're around water or it's a really bright sunny day. It's going to help give you those good colors, and it's going to help the sun not wash them out as much, and it's going to help with those reflective type surfaces. Now, I have tried the ND filters from GoPro, and those are good. Those are obviously for the Hero 13 Black only, but these Freewell ones, I still find myself using these on the Hero 13 Black, and these, by the way, are compatible with the Hero 9 Black all the way up to the Hero 13 Black. But if you own an older GoPro, Freewell does make these filters for older GoPros as well. I own a set that I still use on my Hero 5 and Hero 6. Yes, I do still own a Hero 5 and Hero 6. I do still find use cases for them. And I also own ND filters for those as well. But I really like Freewell. I consider them the best bang for buck filters. They're high quality. They don't leave any of those X marks across your footage. They are made of a solid material, and I've not had any problems with them. And of course, one of the points of an ND filter is to get that 180 degree shutter angle. I won't get into all the details on how I use ND filters in this video, but if you check out this video above, in this video I go into great detail with how and why to use ND filters on your GoPro, and it is one of my videos that I feel like has helped a lot of people. So if you want to learn more about ND filters, definitely check it out after this video. And one note when using ND filters and the 180 degree shutter angle is do note that you're going to have jitter and ghosting in your footage if you don't use your GoPro on a gimbal, or if you don't turn Hypersmooth off to stabilize the footage later on. And that's because Hypersmooth needs a fast enough shutter speed that yields sharp enough frames in order to work properly. So do note, you can't just pop these on your GoPro and go out and use it like normal. You do have to make a couple considerations for that. Which brings me to my next accessory. If you own a GoPro, I highly recommend picking up a gimbal. And the gimbal that I have found is the best bang for buck for GoPros is the Hohem iSteady Pro 4. This gimbal is especially useful anytime I'm using my ND filters and anytime I'm filming in low light. With this gimbal, I've been able to get some incredible GoPro low light footage, I've been blown away at how well the GoPro can do when it's on here. And you don't have to turn Hypersmooth off, and in fact, I don't recommend turning it off. This gimbal does not have strong enough motors to really stabilize it that well. With Hypersmooth off, your footage is going to have a lot of this in it. But what it does do is if you keep Hypersmooth on, it is stable enough that it prevents any of those micro shakes to your camera. So it's going to make sure there's no jitter and ghosting in your footage by simply using that gimbal. And this gimbal's not perfect, but it does cost less than $100. And you're not going to find a better gimbal for a GoPro for less than $100. I think the biggest flaw of this gimbal is when you're trying to pair it via Bluetooth to your GoPro, because you can control it with certain GoPro models here. It's got the record button in some of the modes, but I find that that can be buggy, so I usually don't pair it. I usually just use the quick app on my phone to start and stop recording when I'm using the gimbal. That works great. Or I just push the button on the GoPro on the gimbal, and that also works fine. The next accessory I recommend is this neck mount right here from Ulanzi. This mount is really easy to use. You put it around your neck, and what it does is you can mount the GoPro on here, and this is a phenomenal choice for POV footage. So if you want to get any of that first-person view when you're hiking, when you're fishing, when you're kayaking, when you're biking, anything like that, this is awesome for that. It's really adjustable. You can tighten it here. You can loosen it. It's that silicone rubber type material, so it's very comfortable, especially on a hot day. It doesn't rub against the skin and get uncomfortable. And it's just a super versatile accessory for a very good cost. Basically, it frees up your hands so you can do whatever you need to with your hands. And you don't have to be hanging onto a GoPro or worrying about the GoPro falling over from a mount or a tripod. It's mounted right here, and you know where it is at all times. And if you'd like to learn more about GoPros and how to get the very best footage from these cameras, check out this playlist right here. These videos are packed with content that's going to help you get the very best from your GoPro. And if you kind of have a love-hate relationship with your GoPro right now, after going through this playlist, I think that relationship is going to become more love and less hate. So I definitely encourage you to check out that playlist.